On episode 353 of the 40 Plus Fitness Podcast, I discuss breaking weight loss plateaus. You can find the full show notes for this episode at 40plusfitnesspodcast.com/353. Have you decided you're ready to make a change? To reclaim your health and fitness? The 40 Plus Fitness Podcast is here for you. I'm your host, Alan Meisner. I'm an NSAM certified personal trainer with a specialization in corrective exercise and fitness nutrition. Let me be your coach as you find your way on your health and fitness journey. All right, let's go. I entitled today's show, Breaking a Weight Loss Plateau, but the lessons that I'm going to teach you today can actually be used for any plateau that you're on, whether it's a plateau on strength, a plateau on mass building, a plateau on losing weight, or even a plateau on improving your diet, because every one of those things ends up in a plateau. And so I use an acronym called POP, and that's POPP, and I'm going to discuss that and show you how each element of POP will help you pop your plateau, okay? Let's first start out with why we end up in plateaus. It's one of those things where we'll start a diet, we'll change some things, and almost immediately we'll see some reward, some benefit from making that change. I know when I cycle back into ketosis, literally I could lose 6 pounds overnight. It happens time and time again. If I'm a little bloated, a little inflamed, haven't been taking care of myself or eating as well as I need to, I start that low carb. The next day, it's like, boom, that the weight just washes out of me. Now, I know a lot of that's water, so I have the head to know what's actual fat loss and what's actually just water loss. So I'm not like getting all crazy about it. But there is going to be a point, even when you're doing ketosis, where you are going to plateau. I know a lot of people think, okay, well, I'm losing 15 pounds a month and then I want to stay in ketosis, but if I keep losing 15 pounds a month, I'm going to dwindle down to nothing. Well, no, that's never going to happen, because your body is really, really smart. It does this thing called homeostasis, and homeostasis is just basically balance. I mean, it's a fancy word that just scientists like to use, and it just means they balance out. So you've gotten your body used to eating a certain amount of food or a certain type of food. Your body has adapted. It's been using body fat for a while, but then it says, hey, we're in a long-term bit of famine here. We're not getting as many calories as we're burning. We're getting some great fat and we're feeling full, but things are good. The nutrition's great. I don't need any more, so I'm not going to be hungry just for the sake of being hungry. And then your body just says, okay, well, let's stop shedding this body fat because we kind of like it. We're going to stay here, and that's what I call your body's happy weight. It's not your happy weight necessarily, but your body is happy with it. So how do we break this weight loss plateau or any plateau? And that's where the acronym POP comes in. So POP stands for patience, other measures, persistence, and progression. And I'm going to take just a few minutes here to unwrap what each of those means and how you can use each of these and all of these to help you break this plateau. Okay, the first one is patience. You knew this was coming. I've taught you already that homeostasis is just something that's going to happen. It's going to be there. And so just know that the journey to wellness is ever going. It's your entire life. You're always going to be in this mode. So the first thing I hope that you haven't done is that you haven't looked at this whole process as temporary, as I'm going to go on a diet and then I'm done. Really, to take care of your health for the long term, to include weight loss, which is just really a side effect of living a healthy lifestyle, that's exactly what you want to do. You want to make it a lifestyle. Is this a way that you can live your life going forward? And so with the patience aspect of this, start exploring the things that are serving you and what are the things that maybe aren't serving you. And is this truly a good lifestyle that you want to maintain? And as long as you're maintaining a healthy lifestyle, then you just use patience to say, I know this is working. I know that I'm doing the right things for my body. If my body is at its happy weight at this point, maybe I just, for the time being, need to be happy with that and accept that this is just a long-term process. And over time, I'll probably see some progress, but I'm not going to see it at the rate I was perhaps expecting to. So patience comes in regardless of how you look at plateaus, regardless of what you want to do about a plateau. You just have to recognize you're going to have one now. You'll probably have another one later and another one after that and another one after that before maybe you get to your happy weight. Your body's going to find several of its own set points, its own happy weight. So just recognize as a part of the game, a part of life, make your eating choices and your workouts and everything you're doing, make it lifestyle, make it sustainable for the long term, and you'll see the benefits over time. Now, that takes us to the other measures. Now, so if I am looking at taking care of my health, then I'm going to see improvements elsewhere. So maybe my skin looks a lot better. Maybe your hair looks a lot healthier. Maybe some things that were happening to you before, maybe you had some eczema or maybe you had irritable bowel problems, other things going on in your life that were making you uncomfortable and unhappy. And now because you've made a lifestyle change, you're starting to feel a lot better there. Maybe your waist size is going down. So, if you have a waist size over 40, that's a strong indicator, direct correlation that you probably are at risk of cardiovascular disease. So if you continue to see your waist get smaller, you're onto the right track. And, a lot of women will tell me they get into this whole thing. They want to lose weight because they know if they lose 25 pounds, they'll be able to fit in that dress that's 2 sizes smaller. And I'm like, okay, great. But sometimes they're not losing the weight. I'm like, well, okay, how are your clothes fitting? Well, they're fitting better. Okay, well, you're getting smaller. So you can fit in that dress. Maybe the weight you thought you needed to be isn't the weight you need to be because now you're shedding fat and maybe putting on a little bit of muscle. Or maybe now you're fully hydrated and before you were dehydrated. So we're not dehydrated. We're in a healthy state. We're seeing a lot of other markers, other health measures, other things going great for us. Turning your focus away from the weight and focusing on these other measures, my waist size getting smaller, my skin looking good, getting good night's sleep, and maybe I'm not having problems going to the bathroom. All of those things matter. They add to the quality of our life. So focusing a little bit more on these other health measures that are going your way will let you know that you're on the right track. Again, then that goes back to patience. That's going to feed your patience deal because it's going to say, hey, it's working. I can't get tied up on what that scale's saying to me right now. If my body's at a happy weight, but other things are going good for me, I need to take that and accept that and understand this lifestyle is working. So I need to stick with it. Okay, the next one's persistence, and that's the stick with it part, okay? Sometimes it's very easy to sit there and say, this isn't going to work. It stopped. I've lost it. And many people do. They get frustrated and they regress. So the persistence aspect of this is just to keep going. It's to not let yourself get deflated that things aren't going exactly the way you want them to. And so it's continuing to do your batch cooking on Sundays. It's continuing to do maybe your 30-minute walks each morning. Maybe it's continuing to keep your sugars as low as you possibly can and making sure that you're drinking plenty of water. And all of these healthy lifestyle changes that you've made that are now habits, you just need to be persistent and keep doing them. Okay, because they are working. If you're looking at these other measures and you're seeing improvement from where you were, that's work. That's good stuff. That's what a healthy lifestyle will do for you. So keep persistently pursuing good health, good wellness. So that wellness, again, health, fitness, and happiness. So be looking for joy. Be looking for the things that are going to help you. That's the persistence of constantly taking this and going and moving and doing. So stay persistent in the battle because it's working. And then the final P is progression, okay? Now, progression is typically used, we talk about it a lot when we're looking at training, exercise, because we're going to say, okay, I'm going to add, an extra 5 pounds to my squat, or I'm going to add an extra, 15 minutes to my walk, or I'm going to try to run a little bit faster. So my progression is to try to increase my speed. All of these different progressions just basically mean you're adding a little bit more effort. Typically in training, like I said, it works out as volume, is the way we explain it. As trainers, as your training volume increases, either because you're working out longer, you're adding more training sessions, or you're adding more weight, or just whatever's making that resistance, that thing harder. You're doing more of that. So progression is the adding more, and it needs to be done gradually. And so if you're doing gradual progression on all the kind of training things you're doing, it's time to maybe think about a progression for your food. And here's how that looks. It's an approach I take when I go off of what I call my seasonal feasting period. And we're just now about to roll out of that because we're approaching Thanksgiving, and that's kind of, Thanksgiving and Christmas end up being kind of my feasting period. So I'm in my feasting period. So what's going to happen is I'm going to get into the new year and I'm going to say, okay, not a special birthday. I don't have to worry about it this year coming up in February. So now is time for me to go in my famine mode. And I'll start into my famine mode with a very, set approach of, really, really low carb, but the foods I like, and I make sure I'm now doing my batch cooking and I'm doing the different things I need to do to make sure that I stay on plan. And then I start to shed the body fat. And then I'll get to a point where the amount of fat I'm eating and the total calories I'm eating, I plateau. It's going to, like you, I will plateau. Now, I am much more focused on trying to add muscle, and I'm much more focused on trying to lose fat. So I might actually see my weight go up. So my measurement is not weight loss, but it's the same concept. I'm trying to change my body composition. So then I'll say, okay, I need to progress. And what that means to me is I need to reduce my calories. And what I'll typically do is I will look to my percentages and I'll say, okay, I'm already fairly low carb, so typically less than 20 net grams when I start. I'll say, okay, what I want to do is and I look at my protein. I say, okay, if my protein's where I need it to be, and my carbs are where it needs to be, then I slowly start trying to reduce the amount of fat in my daily intake. So I may cut another 100 calories off of my daily intake from where I was. So maybe I started at 2,100 calories and I'm going. So I know I'm exercising. I'm going to eat back some of those calories. So on a given day, I might be eating, 3,000 calories if I had a really tough, cardiovascular workout and burned, 700-800 calories. I'll eat those calories back. And then I'll end up with maybe, like I said, close to 3,000 calories that day. What'll happen is I'll say, okay, I need to tomorrow get it down to 2,900 or 100 less than what I would normally eat plus what I would use. And so that progression is just 100 calories. Now, you shouldn't think that 100 calories means that much, but 100 calories over the course of a year is 10 pounds. Okay, so it is a big number. It just doesn't feel that big that day because I'm not looking to say I'm cutting another 500, which I would typically then expect to see about a pound per week. I'm saying, my body's going to plateau again really, really quickly. My energy levels, I'm not going to be able to do what I'm doing. So for me, it's I just shave 100 off. And that 100 typically is enough for me to start seeing things moving a little bit more. Not fast, but I see it. I feel it. It's happening. Okay? That little bit of progression in my nutrition is typically enough to get me now. Now, the one thing I don't sacrifice on or skimp on is I still make sure I'm getting high quality whole food, and I always try to make sure that I'm getting all of my nutrients. So if I feel like because my calorie load is not where it needs to be, and now I'm not eating as many carbs, so maybe I'm not getting as many vegetables or fruits, I may start taking a multivitamin supplement. I'll probably start because, again, we're typically in the early winter, late winter time period when I'm going through this plateau or through this period. Often I'm not getting enough sun, so I'll probably take a vitamin D supplement. Definitely taking some fish oil supplements, and I'm calculating that as a function of my fat intake. So as I kind of look at all this, you can see I'm still making sure that I'm covered nutritionally, and I'm only reducing a little bit of my fat calories. And I'm trying to tell my body, if you want that fat you enjoyed, you got to get it from the body. You got to get it from me, okay? Because I'm not going to give it to you through my mouth. And my body typically responds to that. It's just, and now you wrap the whole pop together and it works like this. I'm patient enough to know that I can do this. I'm patient enough to know that my lifestyle is right. And I just need to be there. I just need to have the patience to work with my body to get it where I want it to be. My happy place, not necessarily its happy place. I need to look at other measures to make sure that I'm on track with my health and not just trying to chase after a single goal. There was a time when I was training for a Spartan and I really wanted to be ready for that Spartan. So I was going to get stronger and I was working on my endurance. And I had a coach, a strength coach. His name was Dave. And I was meeting Dave and my strength was just off the charts going up. So my deadlift was, normally I think when I started with Dave, I was like at a 410. And so I was pulling 450, 460 after about 3 months. And I was like, I could get to 500. And so suddenly I got this really, really, focused mind on that singular thing. And I just started pushing. Now, what happened was my strength in my squat went down. My strength in my overhead press went down, and my strength in my bench press went down. My deadlift was going up, but some of the others were plateauing or stopping, and I just didn't see it. Now that afterwards, I looked at my journal, and I'm like, wow, I was seeing over the course of a month like 5% increase in strength in the deadlift. But I wasn't seeing 5% in the other lifts, which told me I wasn't balanced. I wasn't focusing on the whole me, and I needed to be. Unfortunately, during that period of time, that's when I went ahead and I tore my shoulder, rotator cuff tore. And so some of the other exercises, that bench press kind of went down. I just dropped that. No overhead pressing. And I thought, okay, I'm still doing this deadlift. But after a while, I realized, I'm not there. I'm not going to make that 500. And I don't need to be doing that 500 because now I need to be thinking about this Spartan race. And having a 500-pound deadlift is really not going to help me. I have a problem with my shoulder, and I need to make sure that I can get through this race without hurting myself any more than I need to. So I got back on track. It took me a little while, but you can't get singularly focused on weight loss either. You need to be looking at these other health markers and making sure that they fit your life. Okay, then there's persistence, which means you just stick to it. If you have good stick-to-itiveness, you've made this a sustainable lifestyle. You now have the broad perspective of you're doing healthy things for yourself. That's totally cool. Then you can sit down and have a basis for saying, okay, what's the progression? If I really want to push myself out of this plateau, what are the things that I need to do to get out of that plateau? So you put all three of these together, POPP, patience, other measures, persistence and progression, and now you have a model. You have a structure to approach every one of your plateaus with a plan. The last P here, okay? So have a plan, and that plan has to include POP, P-O-P-P, patience, other measures, persistence, and progression. The Wellness Roadmap is available now for pre-order. I'm offering it as a Kindle edition at a very, very steep discount price. I mean, this is you're not going to get this book for this price after the pre-launch and the first few days of the launch. Once the book's live, I'm going to put the prices back up where they belong. But I'm basically giving the book to you. So if you'll go to the Amazon page, look it up. It's Wellness Roadmap Book, or you can look it up under my name, Alan Meisner. You'll find the book there. The Kindle book edition is going to be as low as Amazon will let me put it. So it basically is close to free as I could get it. I want it in your hands. And as soon as it goes live, you'll be able to download it to your Kindle reader. But I do ask one thing. Once you've read the book, please do go give me an honest rating and review. Amazon loves those things. Amazon feeds off those things. Amazon will not show my book to anyone not looking for it unless it sees these ratings and reviews are coming in, that people are seeing substance in the book. So all I ask is if you do get the book, when you get the book and you've read the book and you feel good about it, please do go out and give me an honest rating and review. It's going to help propel the book and get it where it needs to be, which is in the hands and on the e-readers of people around the country and around the world. So please do go to Amazon, look for the book, Wellness Roadmap Book, or search under my name, Alan Meisner, and you'll find the book there. Buy it at the steep discount. Like I said, as close to free as Amazon would let me put it. And then boom, there you go. Thank you for that. Next time on the 40 Plus Fitness Podcast, we meet Gina LaRoche and Jennifer Cohen and discuss their book, The 7 Laws of Enough, Cultivating a Life of Sustainable Abundance. Until then, have a happy and healthy day.